Hey friend, welcome to Authentic Performance, the podcast. My name is Nat and I'm your host. At Authentic Performance, our mission is to provide education and advocacy for all athletes, developing awareness surrounding identity, purpose, and health, so athletes can live well beyond their sport. This week's episode is one of my favorite conversations ever on the podcast because it's with someone who is very special to me. Coach Kevin Wilkerson, or Coach K as many call him, coached me as a junior in high school when I was going through the recruitment process to play college basketball. He believed in me, he was always honest with me, and I still FaceTime him often to give him updates on my life. We talk about all things coaching, and he gives his perspective on the role of coaches and where some are falling short. You've probably heard from Coach K's daughter, Talisha Wilkerson, who was on season 1 of the podcast and is also dating my younger brother. Both of them are like family, and I'm so grateful to get to share them with you. Now here's my very real and very insightful conversation with Coach K. All right, well, Coach, welcome to the podcast.
There you are. I got you.
I'm pumped to have you here. Before we dive into all the fun questions, can you just tell us a little bit about you, about Coach Kevin?
Coach Kevin is a guy that, was blessed to meet some great people that helped form what I call coaching. It's a true art, and I was blessed to be able to push that art forward. And it's truly my existence. I've been asked, what do I do if I don't coach? And I don't know what to do if I'm not coaching. I truly enjoy it. It's become harder, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's about Coach Kevin.
Yeah. What about Dad Kevin? You want to tell us about your daughters?
I have a 19-year-old, Talisha, and a 17-year-old is Keisha. And Talisha is a basketball player at UC Santa Cruz, and truly, truly proud of that. And my youngest, Keisha, quit playing basketball probably in 8th or 9th grade, and she is in choir, and truly, truly proud of her too. But, my oldest is definitely a reflection of me as far as sports-wise and how to handle herself and handle situations. And Keisha, the parenting part has been amazing. I mean, parenting is the greatest joy besides coaching that I have. I really embrace it.
Yeah.
Another lost art.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Another lost art.
We could probably talk about that all day too.
Yeah, eye roll. Yes.
Oh, yeah. So tell us a little bit about your experience as an athlete, because I know obviously you have some experience of playing sports yourself, so that I'm sure had a little bit to do with you going into coaching.
Yes, of course. I thought I was a tremendous basketball player. My coach had pumped me up pretty much starting as a freshman in Monterey at a place called Seaside High School. I thought I could do just about anything. And my brother was playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFL, and he came to visit with Ron Rivera, and they were working out together. My brother says, I can beat you in basketball, and if I beat you in basketball, you're going to have to play football. And I said, you can't guard me. I'm 6'3", 185. You're 6'2", 6'3", 292. You can't guard me. Well, I lost, and I ended up playing football, which was a true blessing because I then was called in my senior year by Mike Bellotti to come play football at Chico State. And what a great experience. I mean, in basketball, unlike football, there's always going to be someone better than you. And I thought I was legit, and I was not. It wasn't even close. Football, I was good.
Yeah.
I was pretty good.
Well, I'm glad that you can say that because, again, I know you're pretty humble, but pretty good at what you do. So I'm
Well, I
we'll
appreciate
keep talking about it all day long.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So then going into kind of the coaching side, what got you into coaching and like what has been your experience, since you started to now?
Wow, that's a big one. What got me into coaching is I was playing intramural basketball with a guy named Robert Delgado. He is now a golf pro down somewhere in San Diego area. His father is Bob Delgado, who was the AD at Bidwell Junior High. He came to the game. I'm an animated type person. He said, "You'd be a great coach." Okay. So then he asked me to come out and help him at Bidwell. And that's where it all started. And so a true, he was really good at forcing me to be responsible. And I think in coaching, I was easy. I was in college. Hey, I'm busy. I can't make practice today. I can't do this. I can't do that. Then one kid finally asked me, one of the star players said, "Where were you at yesterday?" And I said, at class. And I didn't. And I never forget the feeling of uh, a kid not missing you being at practice. And it is an air of responsibility. I was at home watching Judge Judy, and I just didn't want to go. And I went, that will never happen again. And that was 32 years ago. And I've missed one other practice since then. And so the responsibility of being a coach is also being there. Can't fake, I haven't, blessed not to have a death. I don't get sick. I haven't missed. And so that responsibility and that air of being a coach is like being dedicated and being there. And so that's how I was taught, and it formed how I coach.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, what was it like transitioning from being an athlete to being a coach? Was that difficult at all?
Oh, great story on that one. I've never really talked about it. I think I've mentioned this story once. So when you're young and you're coaching, I'm already blessed to be black. So I get carte blanche already. They already go, "Oh, Coach Kevin can ball. Coach Kevin can ball." Well, I'm 27 years old and these kids, and I can do anything. And they're like, "Oh, oh, oh." And I'm like, okay. So then they had the Bidwell faculty against the kids. And I had an epiphany playing in the game, trying to show out and going, this is not about me. This is not about me. And it hit me, and I went, stop trying to make buckets and just be in the game and have fun. So that transition of trying not to be competitive with some 13, 14 years old, trying to prove out and be a man and go, let that kid score. Let that kid shoot not block a shot and go woo woo. No. So it was really eye opening where I went, dude, this game is not about me. It's about the kids, and they just want to beat parents. And so me being Mr. Show Off, figured it out real quick, and I just shut it down and went, yeah, that's not about me. So that was probably the last time I've ever ran in a game with kids. I'll play around with my team in high school varsity kids, and we'll talk a little smack just to get the competitive juices up. But no longer can I do what I used to do, and I don't try to. So
Yeah, yeah. It's an important distinction. I mean, which can be tough, obviously, because if you love playing too, like you wanna be in it, but when your time comes to an end, um, yeah, you gotta kind of shift it a little bit.
and I think that's probably for professional athletes, it's the hardest thing to do. That's why one of the greatest games to play is golf, because it's just you and the course. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's still uber competitive, but yeah, that's that.
So over, the amount of time that you've spent coaching, how has your role kind of changed? If like as you coach different ages or genders or skill level, because I mean obviously you're coaching boys basketball now, but you were also my coach,
Hmm.
and you coached high school and travel. So how has your role changed, or has your approach changed at all as those teams have been kind of different?
So the last thing that I've trying to get away from is stop telling people I'm old school. It's a beat up narrative. I need to let it go. But kids are a lot more sensitive. Kids have a lot more, I don't know, needs, but they don't, like, there's no more gym rats. Don't tell me your kid loves basketball, because they don't. They like basketball.
Mm-hmm.
They don't put the time in or the work in, and they don't understand. And so it's always somebody else's fault. I'll tell you the biggest, not the biggest, but one of the funniest things is, in my day, I'm old. When I played, my parents would yell at me about going in my room and pouting for a day or two for losing. Wouldn't come out the room, wanted everybody to know how upset I was we lost. Now, shoot, I went to my daughter's college game and they got beat by 20 and they're in the middle of the court taking pictures for Instagram. And I'm like, whoa, dude, you just got beat. How are you taking pictures? My guys, the line I've always said, it used to be you have an hour to wear it and you got to let it go. It's now dropped to 15 minutes because I don't think they last that long. So it's hard to get these kids to understand that. And so you have to let it go. They don't get mad. They're not upset. I had to tone that down. I had to not be that guy. So
Yeah. What about the difference between coaching girls and guys?
none. I hate when
None?
people say that. I treat girls just like I treat guys. I'm not abusive. I don't cuss. I don't need language.
Yeah.
I have always enjoyed girls more because the potential to be great is so much bigger. Every guy can dribble and dunk and shoot, but girls, if you can get them to be really skilled, can be really fun and they stand out. And I love that.
Well,
So,
that kind of leads into my next question, which is like something that I experienced as a player. How are you honest with your players? Because I know that's something that you are not gonna hold back, not in a way where you're just trying to be mean, but you're honest about what people need to do or what they're not doing.
right.
So, like, how do you approach that, especially when they need to hear something that's not going to be pleasant for them to hear?
You have to, once again, I'm blessed to be able to get the narrative across without being too aggressive. My coach, my mentor, was on me. He was a tough dude, and I was like, "Man, coach, you would never last in this deal now because kids can't take it."
Mm-hmm.
I, Clayton, and uh, the, these guys I've always asked, why do you guys still um, want to hang out with me, or what was different about me as a coach? I said, and every one of them has always said to me, and I still hard to soak it in. It's like, you were always honest, you were always real, and I went, okay, well that means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal. So
Yeah. Um, with that and like your kind of your coaching style, what does it look like for you to balance the piece of like being encouraging to people and then also like keeping them in check and disciplined when they need to be? Because I mean, like you said, like people are more sensitive now, but you also do want to keep them accountable.
and I haven't had to waver on that at all. Like that part, prime example, star player, Mormon kid of a family of five brothers. So he's number six. And he pulled a move where he got a technical foul. And I said, you do know that's the an ex principal and runs the district in Chico. You got to make that right. Because now people think you're a punk and you don't want that reputation. And now he thinks you're a punk. that means that you need to clean that up. And if you don't, it's going to wear you out. You have to make, I don't want to be the guy that goes to the ref and go, hey, he's not that kid. That's not my job anymore. Your job is to look him in the eye and tell him that one's on me. I messed up. I'm not that guy. And he'll believe you more. He'll trust me, but when you do it, it's going to be much better. And so that part is cool. I got to do that. I got to call your father after Weed played Fall River. And I quizzed him. I said, why are you talking to that guy? What are you doing? And your dad said, uh, his father is great. But there was a situation in that game that I've never seen before. The kid gets a technical foul and the coach doesn't yank him. So now what did you just tell the refs?
Yeah.
What did you just tell the refs? What do you think that message is to them when you don't pull it? When have you ever seen a game where a kid gets a technical foul and their coach doesn't yank him for a minute, 2 minutes, 30 minutes? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When have you ever seen a kid not get yanked?
Not
Right?
not often.
So
So just thinking about, all this time, I mean, obviously you've got experience in a lot of different scenarios like that one. And I think it is a testament to like the character building. We'll talk more about it, but just like it's more than just basketball, right? Because that reaction that you have on the court is probably gonna tell you a little bit about the way that you're acting in your life and your job when something goes wrong, or in a relationship or whatever. Um, so I think it's important to highlight that it wasn't just about the game. Like you were more focused on the character development. That I mean, sports give you a really good platform to do a really great thing or to encourage bad behavior. Which then encourages it outside of the sport. So
another lost art.
yeah, exactly. Um, just switching it up a little bit, what are some of the hardest lessons that you've had to learn or adjustments you've had to make as a coach? Just generally, maybe that character piece plays into this, or maybe it's just more of the basketball side.
I looked at that question. That's a tough question because I don't know if I've really changed.
Yeah.
My job is to develop young men and women. It's changing that parents don't trust the process. That's the hardest part. And to back off of it, or they pull them from you and don't let them be the guy, don't let you be the. I think the greatest thing in your life is to have someone that's not related to be able to help nurture your kid. That is powerful
Mm-hmm.
because you love your kid. I don't love them. I like them a lot,
Yeah.
but I don't love them. So I'm coming from a different place with probably the same view you have. But guess what? You're mom and dad, so you might not win.
Mm-hmm.
I get to win. That's that whole mentorship thing that's important. Like I said, coach for a lifetime, and my job is to get invited to weddings, boy or girl. Like that's the big deal. And so it's like I said, it's a lost art. And so the adjustment for me has not been big. It's just more parents want to jump in, and it's so debilitating because I'm pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I
And it
really
it
think
takes
so.
and it takes a lot for you to say that, but you are.
I
I
don't
mean,
like digging in it.
yeah, you
I,
won't brag about it, but
heck no.
it is true, and it's not just you that thinks that either, because the people that really have bought into the process appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I only played for you for one season, but I got it. Like
How and that's
that's why you're here. Like
I don't
I
I and I still have a hard time drinking the Kool-Aid, but it's truly amazing. I mean, I used to FaceTime you at 6:30 in the morning just to know what your day was like and what was going to go on and if
yeah.
you're going to make it. One year, and this is the same thing. Like I don't like to name drop, but you know, I've known all these kids that have great parents. You have great parents, but God, there's a not because your brother dates my daughter. It's because we formed a relationship as a coach and player, and you grabbed onto it and you grabbed fast. And I'm like, wow, like that's crazy. And I didn't know how much I meant to you, but I actually thought the FaceTime things were a little annoying for you, but you always stayed in the you stayed into the deal, and it it formed our relationship. And so that part is so important and so big. And so I was glad I did it, and I do it with several other kids still in Fall River, and they only FaceTime me because I want to see what you're reacting to and how you respond. And so it's been great.
Yeah, well, and for us too, like that continued beyond that one season too. So like it wasn't just like, okay, I want to know what's going on in your life because you're on my team right now. It was like, okay, like now we've formed that relationship, and now, okay, you're in college playing, like I want to know what's going on. Like if I wanted to talk to you about something, like I knew that
Yeah,
you'd pick up. Like you're not gonna
right,
just leave me hanging, which is not that's not always the case. Like sometimes
right.
it's like, okay, you're on my team, so I care right now, but once you're not, like I don't really need to check in, like that's
I
not uncommon.
yeah, I've always put it out there that when kids are in college, I back away. But the
Yeah.
ones that are really real stay in the fold. Like I'm never not going to answer the phone.
Yeah.
I mean, Clayton called me from New York, Syracuse. You called me from SWAC. Like, Ryan doesn't reach out as much, but I try to reach out to him. But those are important things.
Yeah.
They're big deals.
Hmm.
But, I won't say that things have changed because kids that have graduated from Hamilton still reach out to me and they make sure they come find me at Christmas. And I think that's great.
Know a little bit about, I guess, your experience with coaching Talisha, your daughter. Just because I know that it's pretty common for like parents to be coaches, which
Hmm.
that it's not super common for a parent to be a coach like long after they're coaching their kid. A lot of times it's just while
Right.
they're doing
Right.
it, which is not you. But what did you enjoy about that, and what was difficult?
I had to square her up one time because I thought she was being disrespectful. So I got to do that. It didn't go so well. That would be the hardest part. The best part is that she towed the line and she had to sit the bench. She couldn't play until um, she was she had to be the best player. She had to be the best point guard, or she wasn't gonna be playing. And so she set the bench and she did that and was a trooper. And I thought that was great. And then COVID came and, she ended up playing with your brother on the Fall River team, playing on the boys side. So you know, I, the greatest thing for me, the joy of it wasn't that difficult, but the lesson was learned that you earn your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to know and understand, like, these are rare breeds, man. We've got rare breeds. You, your brother, Talisha, even Code. Like there's some things that Cody's done that I go, that's above board. That's a lost art. I miss kids that get it. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't always go your way, but when I got the phone call about plagiarizing a paper, he had to answer to me. His mom said, "Call Kevin." Okay, yeah. That stuff is when it's really powerful. And I've got a client whose mom is an admin at a high school, and my son is doing this. You need to talk to him. Well, then the youngest daughter, who used to hang on her leg when she was 10, calls me and says, "We're going and talk to the coach." I said, "No, no, no. She's 15. You cannot go in there. Let her handle it." And we went to Fifth Street last Saturday because she didn't get the answer she wanted, but she got to do it herself. And I'm just like, that's the learning lesson. You can't be in it. It's a lose lose. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's there's usually like two ends of the spectrum when you have a parent coaching. I mean, there definitely could be a middle ground too, but you've usually either got the parent that's like really hard on their kid or the one that is really easy on them and just lets them do whatever they want. And obviously, you didn't take that route. Like you're tough on T, but just like you were everyone else, like you're gonna be honest, you're gonna be real. Because when we show up to the game, you're not dad, you're just coach. Like you're just doing your thing. Which, I mean, like I think that was one of the things that really impacted me playing with T and with you as my coach was like you could have made. I mean, and Talisha is a very talented basketball player. You could have made it about T, and really, people probably wouldn't have questioned it because again, she's a very talented basketball player. She is,
Hmm.
but I will never forget going to Portland when I was trying to go play college basketball, and you were like, "Kate, like we're doing this for you. Yeah, this is your time. Like you've got coaches that want to watch you. Like this is for you." And again, it could have been very easy to be like, "Oh, the spotlight on T," because T was doing like really well. Obviously, she's playing at the college level now and is the best basketball player I've ever gotten to play with.
Right. Oh, wow.
But I, without a doubt, I mean, team player and super talented. So
How rare? How rare
can't
is
I know
that?
can't
How
ask
rare
for
is that?
can't ask for anything more. Those are the two things that you usually get one or the other, not both together. But yeah, like again, I think that shows how much you cared about me as a player. Is you're willing to put me in the spot where you could have easily put your daughter because she was going through recruiting and stuff too. Like she wanted to play also, but you were like, "This is your time."
Do you know what's crazy about that?
What?
I've never ever thought of that scenario like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't her turn, and I just want to make sure I give a shout out because all these people, when they think their kids are talented, there's only one phone call I make. One, Tony Smith. What do you think about?
Yeah.
And he is the one that made them phone calls, lined you up, talked
Mm-hmm.
to you. I'm I'm not a good admin. I'm not good with paperwork. Heck, I was just glad I could connect with this podcast. But at the end of the day, when you talk about, and all these people are playing AAU for all these people when they say they want to play in college, you have no idea of the work that Tony did for you
Oh yeah.
and let me know, hey, she's talented. I'm going to call some coaches. You think they just showed up at the game? No,
Oh no.
Tony made those phone calls.
Yep.
And I wanted you to experience what that was all about.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I wasn't even thinking about my daughter's well being. I was thinking about the next kid up. Who's up?
Yeah.
You were up.
But from my perspective, it was like, man, he really cares because,
Oh,
and I mean that's always been the case, and we've talked about this before. Is it's never been just basketball. Like, it's been like all the questions that you would ask me while we're FaceTiming at 6 in the morning, like how are your grades, who are you dating, like what those were the things that no other coach that I've ever had has been like, hey, you need to tell me what's going on in your life because not because you're playing like crap or like because there's something wrong, but because I need to know like that we're in this together. Like that was kind of the contract that we had that without really making it anything crazy. It was like I know he's going to show up and he's going to care and he wants me to be successful because I came and I told you like I want to play in college and you're like all right let's do it. Like it was not like oh well what's in it for me which
oh,
that
never.
no exactly but
Right,
that's not abnormal for that to be the case like
right.
it's for some people it's like oh I want to win what can they do for me. That's I mean you laugh because it shouldn't be that way but it is in a lot of situations and so you were the outlier for me, um which was cool.
That's a lot. And you really want to help a coach put that in a Hallmark card. But I just wanted to make sure that, it used to say on the back of our shirts, it used to say integrity, discipline, and respect. And nobody care about that crap no more. Like now it says family, and I'm like, okay, do you know what the greatest art about coaching is? I have 22 kids in my program. I know the ins and outs of all of them. So I don't know if we did it in AAU. I want to say we did, but I have this tradition of after every game, every kid has to stand up and analyze what happened in those games, and they have to speak in front of the team, and they have to share what they thought. Was it fair? Did I not play you enough? Tell me, and then I will give you my press conference after that. After you shared what you feel, and that's where I think that we are lost. Like I want to know everything about every kid on my bench. If you don't know about your kids on your bench, you're just coaching generic coaching. I know how you operate. I know how you go. I was upset when I played you in Modesto when I couldn't figure out you were tired. And then you
I
started
knew
throwing
this story
you,
was coming.
you started throwing the ball away on purpose to get taken off the game. I'm like, she's throwing the ball away on purpose. I'm like, what is she doing? And I look at that film all the time because it's on YouTube, and I go, man, I am a blind coach because I cannot believe that I ran her like that.
And some people would never think about that another day in their life. Like
Still
that's
on my
such
mind.
I know. That's
I could have killed you
makes
that day.
And here we are now, and you still get the FaceTime calls occasionally, and now the
Yes.
podcast. So we've come a long
Well,
way from that day.
well, yeah, I'm really proud of you. You've done some great things.
Oh,
You
thanks.
are a mover and a shaker.
Oh, thanks.
Yes.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about how you develop these athletes, because I know you do a really great job of making basketball players into better people.
That's the big piece.
Yeah,
So you send
that's
these
that's the
basketball.
goal.
Okay.
So what do you think the coach's role is in developing that character and maybe even values with players while they're, in your program or out of your program?
In my program, you have no choice but to be developed as a young lady or a young man. I just had to explain to an eighth grade girl that a crop top is not a proper attire for the winter with no jacket. And I'm going to yogurt with you. We're not wearing that. Mom is right there. Um, I just, that development is more than a crossover or a jump shot or a step back. Anybody can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can do that. But man, when you can get the kid to go, my girlfriend just broke up with me and I got a game tomorrow. What do I do, coach? That's yogurt. That's go get a meal. I've had a dad have me take his kid to the Kings game and just talk it out and not hear it from your parent, but hear it from somebody that, I've got a different, God has blessed me with the ability at 57 years old to talk to a kid like I'm 22. I don't have to cuss. I don't wear my pants sagging. I don't need to wear a hat crook. I don't need a chain, but I can articulate in their language and get away with it. That's that does not happen when I'm supposed to wear black socks, mow the yard, wear some goofy shoes. That's what's supposed to happen, but I'm able to throw on some Jordans and dress appropriately and still be able to. I had a kid at Butte Core from Spain named Mauricio or something, and he was like, I said, man, first of all, you have a hoodie on inside. Take it off. I don't even know him. Pulls it off, and he said, nah, I like you. Okay. Kept coming back and forth, and he tried to tell me he wasn't playing because he had a torn meniscus, but he didn't know I knew Mr. Harvey, the principal, and he was out because he don't have no grades. So it got nothing to do with meniscus. So I called him out on it. Said, man, you're way too honest. I go, you tried to fib to me, and I'm telling you, you out because your grades are bad. That's powerful. And it's those little stories because I don't share them with anybody. I live alone, so I don't have no one to tell them to. But I go, man, that's me telling you, go, boy, that's more than that's winning by 40 or losing by 40. Like I touched a kid that wanted to come stand by my bench, and we're not even and the game hadn't even started yet. And I'm just like, okay, you can tell people other stories and they can believe it, but I'm gonna get to the core of it. I know your principal, and I know that you didn't get to play, and you're telling me you're a baller. I said, bro, you do not know how to play. Oh, yeah, you're kind of right. And I'm like, okay, be humbled first.
Yeah.
You're talking to a black man. Let me know. Be honest. You're not that good of a player. You're at Butte Core. I don't. I need to see it before I believe it. So
Yeah.
that was that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On more of like the team side, um, how do you kind of enforce or build a healthy culture or team dynamic when you've got, different kids every couple of years? And I'm sure you've probably, especially at the high school level, had kids that are not really contributing to the team culture in a good way.
So that's I'm sorry. Even your questions like it's so funny you ask this stuff because I sit and revel in this stuff. You understand I have no team meeting. I don't have to have a team meeting to tell you we wear ties to games and I don't want to see a hat with ripped jeans. I don't have to have a team meeting to tell you what I'm about. We're all about discipline and respect. So here it is. This is we talk about culture. So I went up to Todd Franklin's practice at Simpson, and I've been to Coach Klink's practice at Chico State. Culture, culture, culture. What is that? Well, I have never told these guys to do it, and I don't never know when it started. I have 22 players on my team. Practices at 3:30. I walk into the gym, the door cracks. These guys are in there shooting, working on their game. Every one of these knuckleheads come over and shake my hand. Every one of them. And after every practice, every one of them shakes my hand. Culture. But guess what also that is? And it hasn't happened yet. I can tell you if I only shake 21 hands. And how you shake my hand tells another story.
Yeah.
But 22 hands touch me every beginning and end of practice. If you walk out and don't shake my hand, I know something's up. So guess what's going to happen at the next practice? There's going to be a conversation. What's your problem?
Yeah.
Not that you didn't shake my hand, I can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to push the narrative, and that's what we do. So I love that about, and I'll say it at the banquet, and I go, I don't know where this started, but your kids are highly respectful. They know not to cuss on my bus. That doesn't mean it hadn't happened. That means I have to check you.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't like, it's not that they don't like it. They know they're going to get checked. The star player gets a technical foul, and I said to him, you got to make that right with the principal. You got to make that right with the ref, who's a ex-principal and head of the district. But then when we talked after the game in front of everybody, I said, I get it now. And he said, what do you mean? You're that kid in a Mormon household with 6 brothers that got away with murder, and your mom always blamed your brothers, and you got away with everything. I see, bro. My eyes are wide open. I'm watching you all day because you're that extra bump, you're that push, and nobody sees it. And then you come on. So we play Butte Core, runs at a dude because he's really fast, and the dude pump fakes him and he hits him, goes flying. My guy runs over to the guy to make sure he helped him up. And I said, oh, look at the sportsmanship. Usually these guys can be a little bit, and he doesn't have it in him. He's not a punk, but you come off like one if you don't help him up.
Mm-hmm.
Win-win.
Yeah. So,
Culture.
yeah. So, just in general, like I think we've established that you care about your players. You care you I mean, you've built this culture just based on kind of the way that you model things too. I mean, that's all these things that you're describing that your other like that your players do is something that you would do. Like you kind
Yeah,
of hold
yeah.
yourself like that. Um so what does it really look like, especially with players that you might not see often or just people that you train? How do you like kind of show them that it's more about just their performance on the court, or that the wins and losses aren't what's important? Like, what I mean, we've talked about it before, and like the way that I always felt like you really genuinely cared about me as a person, but what is it, do you think, that creates that relationship? Can you articulate it? I mean,
I
I've
I
tried,
think
but
I think it's just by example.
yeah.
And what I have is like, so eighth grade mom brings her daughter to come train. It's after my practice. What do you think happens? She now is shaking 22 hands.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to walk in my gym and not speak to, especially a client I have in the. You're gonna learn that you just don't walk in and out of a gym and not say hello. That is the example, and that perpetuates the narrative, and it keeps going and it keeps going, and they go, wow, and then they go and say, and this is where it hurts me because these parents approach me and say, hey man, we want you to coach our girls' eighth grade. We really like you. We came to your basketball camp. My daughter was infatuated with how you coach and you're funny and you're this and that. And then their season ends in December. And I said, I am not touching AAU until high school season's over.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to play on a ninth grade elite team. I said, oh, be careful of what you're saying. What are you saying? Yeah, we're going to play for this person. I said, okay. I want to tell you something. Ninth grade elite means you're playing garbage girls that aren't playing high school basketball because it's against the rules.
Yeah.
So don't drink the Kool-Aid. But if you want to run with, here's the part that hurts me the most. We as parents lose perspective on the value of coaching because we want the here and now and not the process. I'm a process. I'm not easy baked bread. I'm the bread that's got to take a while. Like it's not, the garlic bread from Safeway and you throw it in and it's garlic bread. You got to actually make the bread. You got to tend the bread. You got to, like, I don't understand. And it hurts me because if I'm truly good, why would you not wait 2 months to get truly good over people without integrity or morals?
But quickly.
Quick, so you can play bad girls at Hardwood
Mm-hmm.
and then you go to Vegas for what? I'm not taking eighth grade girls to Vegas. There's no coach in the world looking at any eighth or ninth graders in Vegas. If you want to gamble and drink, tell me you want to gamble and drink. You want to go take in a show? Tell me you want to take. Don't tell me you're going there to play quality hoop, because it's just like Reno. I don't drink or smoke, so what do you want me to tell you? Like, there is no end game in that. Do you play a lot of teams? Yes. Is it competition? Probably. But do the trip for what the trip is for. I, I'm focused on basketball, so I'll go see. When I went to Vegas with Clayton and those guys, I went to more games. I went to the NBA Summer League. I don't gamble. I'm in bed by 10 or 11. I didn't even know how to take in a show. Tony made me go to Summer League. I thought it was great. And we just balled. That's it. That's what I'm there for. Got back on the plane and came home. But
Yeah.
you know, it's hard when you have integrity and you're around the people that don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you start getting in your own feelings. You're like, what am I doing wrong? But I'm not going to start up an AAU team in December because you don't want your girls to go run at the track and get in shape to be ready for AAU in March. That's your fault.
Yeah.
and she wants to play on two AAU teams. So, so now you want to double your money and go play bad basketball.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think that a lot of it is just about the show, which I'm sure you can relate to that. Like that, but there's a separator there between the ones that are just paying the money to go play in the tournaments to just be able to say that they're going to these tournaments and not really actually get the good basketball. And there's the people that are like, I don't care where you're gonna take me. Like, just I want to play. I want to do whatever I need to do to get better, whether it's you know flashy in Vegas or a tournament right down the street. Like you gotta realize that it's not always gonna be the like the glamorous stuff. That it's not gonna be the thing that you need to do to get to your highest potential. Like that, it's not cool per se to show up at the gym at 5 in the morning and train. It's really cool to put on a cool uniform and go to Vegas, but that's
That's what
not that's
that's
not
what
what is gonna make you the best you can be.
that's what it's come down to. Put on a uniform. Here's where we get stuck because I'll do it too. I almost dropped it again. The first thing we do is we make it about the money. So you're going to pay $900 to put on a new uniform and go run around at Hardwood. Our friends own Hardwood. I hate fake. So I'm blessed to have you and I have my daughter that really was about being really good basketball players. These people just want to run up and down. And so when I call them out, I go to these little junior high games and I go, that's garbage. Like, what are we training for if you're going to do that? Like that's not good hoop. You don't even understand spacing. But your coach gets to sit there. Look, I said, look at man. Anybody can put on a collar shirt. And if you're a real idiot, you got to put coach on your shirt. I've been coaching for 35 years. I have not put coach on a shirt for 33 of those. I'm walking to safe. Dude, I was in a restaurant last night. Are you a coach? Didn't have a coach on my shirt. I'm just here trying to get in with my daughter. Like, what are you talking about? Yes, I'm a coach. I hate that the profession's cheated because these dudes got to put the name on the shirt and the coach on the shirt and they think they can coach. And then you don't even understand, but yet you want to criticize other people. And here this person is that you just paid $800-900 to can't coach at all. And then you're gonna come complain to me, and I'm sitting there going, dude, I might do something in March. I'm not doing basketball in February.
Yeah.
I'm in high school.
Yeah, it's a different approach for sure to the game, which I think kind of just weeds out the ones that aren't really in it for the game. I mean, that's not to say that some people aren't going to ride that talent as long as they can, but what are you really getting out of it if that's what it's about, you know?
Right, right.
It's not going to be beneficial for you in the long run, and it's going to be a big reality check at some point. Which it may
And
it
I'm
may come sooner than for some than others, but it's gonna come at some point, right?
yeah, I just don't know. Like I'd love to hang on my experience, but I try not to throw out the numbers because they don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
35 years in the game does not mean nothing to them. So you want to take somebody that flashy and glitzy and you got some cute uniforms and you beat some really bad teams, that's on you. But me, Tony would apologize if we played in a bad tournament and go, dude, I'll try to get them their money back because he knows the directors well enough. That's a bad tournament. We're never going to that again.
Mm-hmm.
That's called integrity.
Yeah.
And my players, every one of them knows the definition. It is what you do when people aren't looking.
Yeah.
I'm,
Thing.
I'm
For me, like it was basketball was the main one, but in general, like sports have the potential to have a really good impact on people. They also have the opportunity to make some really bad habits and behavior that continues into adult life in all kinds of different capacities. But just from your perspective, like how is a coach in the position to make changes or have a positive influence on what the game and just kind of the organization of sports can do for a kid?
Whoa,
I know that was a lot.
that's deep. What? Give it to me again. I want to really grab that one.
Yeah, so I mean, just with how much of an impact sports can have on a kid, whether it's positive or negative,
Yeah.
how do you think, as a coach, you play a role in that change, either in a good way or in an unhealthy way?
Well, I always want to believe it's in a good way, but I'll give you the story. Clayton Welch, stud athlete, great kid, high school, biggest game of the year, 5,000 people, dunks on the goalpost. Coach just slap his butt. You great. Ooh, ooh. He gets a text message from me at 11 o'clock at night. I need to see you. And he knew exactly what it meant. And I said, somehow he lost his phone. So he happens to run into me at a restaurant on a Tuesday. That game was on a Friday. You know, I'm not happy. And he goes, I know. Why would you do that in the biggest game of the year? It's just not good. And your coaches are slapping your butt like you're great. But we know that's not who you are or what you're about. Those are the things that shape this kid. And he's a great guy, but he had a moment. And that's where, when coaching and influencing things is a big deal. It's such a powerful tool, and people are misusing it all day, every day. That's where I get hurt. I go, dude, you don't really care. You're not in this for the real. Like, you're in it for, I'm going to make $2,600 from coaching Hamilton basketball. I've been at this for it'll be 4.5 months. But I've always told myself I'm not doing this for the money. And we're talking about, I've been doing this since I was in my 20s. Going broke, I needed money. But I've never, you can't coach for the money. You got to want to coach for the love of teaching kids. And then, like you said, it's a platform so that you can make these relationships and mentorships and this big deal. I never was a teacher, could never be one, never got my degree. But I actually think I'm a very positive influence in this community and with kids. It's just about trusting the process, and a lot of people can't do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Does that answer that question?
oh yeah, oh yeah. No, I think like it can go one of two ways when you're in that position, and I think that a lot of people don't realize how much power they have, because these kids, they're spending hours with you a day. They look up to you in one way or other, whether it's you modeling that good behavior or the behavior that's not so good. Like, they're watching, so
Right.
you can have a really great influence. And I think that that's one of the things that sets you apart is that honesty and that willingness to call someone out because you care. Like, again, you're not saying like, why'd you do that, because it has really a whole lot to do with your life. It's like, no, this is your reputation that you're putting a stain on if you act like that. So it's I think rare, but that honesty is what makes you different than the rest, and you're willing to step out of that, just show and let me tell you all how great of a coach I am, but you don't show up and actually do it. Like, you lead by example, not by telling everyone exactly what you're doing. That's why I said, like,
Right.
I have to kind of pull some stuff out of you today, because I know that you don't want to just brag on yourself. But if someone wasn't listening to this and they were watching you, they would get the same thing. Like, just by watching you in the way that you carry yourself, not even on the court, just in general, because it's not different. It's you carry yourself the same way in public as you do with your team, as you do anywhere, because that's just who you are. But yeah, I really appreciate that you are chatting today, but more than that, I appreciate the coach that you were to me, and anyone that gets to be kind of under your wing is very blessed. So I definitely do not take that for granted, and I appreciate you.
Oh
Not to
boy.
get all mushy on you,
That's
but
all
you know I
mushy on me. Yeah,
do.
yeah. You've made that very clear, and like I said, I'm appreciative of the relationship. Like that's the greatest thing. I didn't know in 1 year I could have that much impact, and but it was always, me being up in your town and training and all that stuff, and you bought in, and when I asked you to play for me, I was like, oh, just to get a different experience. So I'm glad it was a great experience for you. And like I said, shout outs to Tony because he did just amazing work,
Oh
but he believed in your talent
yeah.
where a lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because when I was playing, like for you, I remember having there's just a little bit of overlap with softball, and when I would tell like people, yeah, I'm driving, 2.5 hours to go to practice after softball because that's where you were at. They're like, you're crazy, and I'm like, but he's making that same drive on the weekend to come train me in my hometown. So it wasn't just a me making sacrifices. Like you made those sacrifices too, which is I think why it was such a good relationship, because it was both ways. It was you making sacrifices for me just as much as I was, driving down there to practice with the team. Like it was I never was like, this is just a really big deal for me to do this because number one, I got the really great experience of having you as a coach, but beyond that, I was like, you show up for me. Like why wouldn't I want to make that decision? Like I don't even know how many
well,
times you came up
yeah.
to Fall River. Like you were there all the time, and that was a drive for you too. Like it was. I mean,
Yeah.
heck, you even like when I was actually on the team, we had a whole retreat thing up at in Fall River. Like you made all of them drive up there and said, "No, we're going up there for a change." So, I
So
mean,
why do you think I did that?
I think you wanted to show them what I had been doing on the other end.
I
which
wanted
which
them to see
yeah.
the sacrifice you had to make to get down to practice with them.
Yeah.
It, you know, and we rented a van and drove everybody up there, and your family hosted. But people, we only point at ourselves and we don't look at others. And I go, bro, like Maddie did it, you did it, and I went. I'll never forget that because I used to make you guys text me when you got home. I think about you guys driving, and that's a big sacrifice for some. Look here, man. I appreciate being quality and all that stuff, but how would I ever cheat you guys? And when practice was going to be light or we didn't have enough, I always let you know so you didn't make that drive. And then me driving up was no big deal. I was blessed and had the means to do it. So just a brother can't drive in snow. So lucky basketball wasn't doing when it was snowing.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know that you get a decent amount of snow.
Yeah.
And I know I was just talking to a friend about one of my favorite memories of Talisha when this is probably, I don't know, her and Ryan have been dating for a little while because it was still high school. But I remember her coming up to the snow and like we went sledding and she just had the time of her life. And I was like, city girl comes to the country and gets a little bit of snow.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sweet. Well, I want to wrap it up with this last
Okay.
question, which I know you're going to be thrilled about.
Oh boy.
Everyone gets to answer this, so it's not a target on you. But
Got it. Give me the question.
Coach Kevin, what does it look like for you to live authentically?
What does it look like for me to live authentically?
Yeah.
Oh,
Whatever that means to you.
I think I'm doing it.
I agree.
I don't think there's anything I have to adjust or do. This is the way I coach and how I roll. Like, be real, be honest. And I had a kid the other day. I said, man, you don't know how to play. You're from Capay. You have zero clue on how to play. So we can't put you in the game because you don't know how to play. And he came over, shakes my hand, and he's got a stuttering problem. He goes, I'm just no good. I said, that's too easy. Why come to basketball practice for 4 months if that's what you're going to come up with? Sir, we have to work harder. Listen to the instruction. Fight the power. Don't sit there and already go, poor me. We're not poor me here. You with the wrong coach. So all that, you want me to rub your back and make you feel better? I'm not doing that. You're going to hustle and work, and I'm going to make you better. But, it's funny. We say court time. That's the one thing. But the one thing I truly coach that I think is a lost art is IQ. And so being your authentic self, I can put you on the court, but if you don't understand what it is to be out there and to fight for what we've been taught, then what are we doing? Because you go right back to bad habits. And there's going to be some guy with a shirt that says coach on it that's going to go, you're good, put you on your AAU team. Take your 800 and you're going to be the same cat. I'm not taking anything from you. I'm just telling you, you can be better. And that's it. For me to look down the road and be authentic, I think I've been blessed to do that. Like, that's what I hope separates me from all the rest. And look, I think there's some great coaches out there. I really admire them. But relationships are so, so important.
Yeah.
And maybe AAU has passed me by. Like, I'm trying to do it, but I'm not going out and beating the streets having to, 35 years of coaching. I don't need to sell myself. If you don't want this piece, then that's on you. That's not on me. It's hard. I like to be, driving to Portland and doing all those things, but it's not as inspiring anymore if you're not really to buy in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that question was just made for you.
Do you?
You said it perfectly. Being real, being honest with people, like that's who you are. I mean, we talked about it a decent amount. So I think it's a good thing for people to think about, whether you're being real with your players or being real with your boss or whatever. Like, it's all part of it.
I just think at my age, man, my friendship pool is full. If you don't like me, it's okay. I'll move on. It's okay. But I'm still going to be Kevin.
Still going to do your thing.
Yes, girl.
Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Gave me stomach ache all day, but I had to get it done. I so wanted to fake, and I was like, it's Nat. I cannot fake.
No, I would have been FaceTiming you saying, all right, let me see. Are you actually sick, or are you just playing
Never.
me?
And I'm super proud I figured out how to connect it. So.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, you did awesome.
Well, I hope you're really blessed. You're really skilled at what you do. You did a great job.
Thanks. I appreciate
You're welcome.
it. Make it easy. It's just
Lord.
It's just like our morning FaceTimes.
Yes, exactly. Nothing new.
Yep.
All right.
Sweet. Okay. Thank you so much for listening to Authentic Performance, the podcast. We would love to hear what you found valuable in this episode, so send us a DM on Instagram at Authentic Performance or leave us a review on whatever platform you enjoy most. We want to thank you for your continued support of this project. It truly means the world. We also want to invite you to be a part of the Authentic Performance fam, so follow us on socials and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. For more information about how to get involved or to see how we're supporting athletes, go to theauthenticperformance.com. Finally, let us know what you want to hear on the podcast and who you want to hear from. We want to give you the best possible resources and support, and your feedback helps us do that. In the meantime, think about how you can live authentically. See you next time.